All right, so let's continue with equations with fractions. All right, so if I have this equation, x over 13 minus 3x over 13 equals 8 over 13, I see I have a bunch of fractions, and that can be really hard and confusing for some people. But if I look at this, I see that all the denominators are the same. They're all 13, right? So I can get rid of those denominators by multiplying this whole equation by 13. When I do that, it gets rid of all those denominators. And you might say, hey, how is that possible? Well, let's say if I had 13, which is really 13 over 1, and I multiplied it by this first term. Let's use that as an example. Multiplied it by x over 13. I do top times top. 13 times x gives me 13x. Bottom times bottom. 1 times 13 gives me 13. And then I can say, what's 13 divided by 13? Well, 13 divided by 13 cancels out and gives you 1, which is what you want. So I get x, just x left over. So if you multiply it, these all have the same denominator. If I multiply it by the denominator, it gets rid of all those fractions. So that would leave me with 13 times x over 13 gives me x. 13 times 3x over 13. So I'm going to keep that minus sign. That will just be 3x. And if I do 13 times 8 over 13, that will give me 8. And now from here, I could just solve it like a regular equation. So I notice right away that these two are like terms. So I would do x minus 3x. Well, x minus 3x is negative 2x. And then I want to get x by itself. This is negative 2 times x. So I can do divided by negative 2 to get rid of that and leave me with x. But I have to do the same thing to the other side. So 8 divided by negative 2. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. So negative 4 would be our final answer. Alright, so let's say if I had a different equation. Let's say I had 1/9 equals 5/6 minus m over 3. Alright, now this one, if I look, all the denominators are different. So this one's a little different. This one I have to find the least common multiple. And the least common multiple is just trying to figure out what number do all three of these numbers can divide by into. Alright, so let's list the multiples of 9. So 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. Alright, let's do the next one. Let's see, 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. I'm going to stop right there because I can see these two are the same. So let's try 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. So I can see I have a least common multiple of 18. So that means I can times this whole equation by 18, or really 18 over 1. Alright, so remember when you multiply fractions, you do top times top, bottom times bottom. So 18 times 1 will give me 18. 1 times 9 will give me 9. I can go to my next one. 18 times 5 gives me 90. 1 times 6 gives me 6. And then my last one. 18 times m gives me 18m. And then 1 times 3 gives me 3. And then from here, I can simplify these fractions, and it should give me whole numbers, which will make it easier to work with. So 18 divided by 9. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 90 divided by 6. 90 divided by 6 is 15. And then 18 divided by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So now I have nice, easy whole numbers where I don't have any more fractions, and I got rid of those fractions, and now I can just solve this as like a regular equation. So I see this as a two-step. I want to get rid of that constant. That's a positive 15, so I know I have to do a minus 15 to get rid of it on this side. And I could do the same thing to the other side. 2 minus 15 is negative 13. And on my right side, I still have this negative 6m. So now I can, when I get that m by itself, so I want to get rid of this negative 6. This is negative 6 times m, so I'm going to do divided by negative 6 to get rid of that and leave me with m. And on the other side, I got to do the same thing. Negative 13 divided by negative 6. Well, this is a fraction, and if I divided this, it's going to give me a decimal. So I want to keep it as a fraction, but it's already simplified because no number goes into 13 and 6. But what I do notice is this is negative divided by a negative, so that's going to give me a positive. So my final answer will be a positive 13 over 6. So if you have denominators in an equation that are all different, what you have to find is the least common multiple and multiply that whole equation by the least common multiple, and that will give you nice, easier whole numbers you can work with to solve your equation.